Aha. And so, Meat Magic C-Suite Secrets is alive yet again. It's Wednesday. Oh, it's Tuesday. Oh my God, I thought it was actually Wednesday already. It's Tuesday only. So for all of you who are sat at your desk doing nothing, being lazy, when you should be in sales, hold on. I've got myself. I'll mute that one. So for all you lazy salespeople out there, you're about to get some tips on how to.
Hey, Cara, sorry I cannot hear you, unfortunately.
How about that? I muted myself.
Yeah, now
I had too many clicks. Was I on mute for the whole of that time?
most of the time.
But anyway,
Oh, mute again.
yeah, I'm gonna leave them. I'm gonna leave this thing alone because every time I touch that shit, you know what? Do you know what happens? Everything goes wrong. Braz, nice to meet you. I was telling everybody before that it's really good to have someone like you being able to come and have a conversation with us because your knowledge and background coming from where you come from, PayPal, cybersecurity world, you know, the whole Israeli security thing. I think that is fascinating. But I did also say that we're going to give some insights to some salespeople because you know, I think a lot of salespeople at the moment are expecting things to happen for them almost. It's almost like the world's gone backwards in my world, in my eyes. I mean, salespeople, when I was in sales, we had no choice but to sit down. Actually, this is how it went. Okay. We had to go to the office of the person we wanted to talk to. We'd have to sneak into the reception. On the desk, on the coffee table would always be some annual reports. We'd have to steal one of those annual reports, take it back to the office, and start reading through it, find out who the key people are. There's no internet. The internet wasn't there, and so we'd often then see the agenda of the strategy for the business over the next 12 months, and we'd have a conversation on the phone with the CIO about aligning to that strategy. That's what I mean. It's a very basic thing. Geez whiz, you've got the internet now, but salespeople I'm seeing are still not prepared to do that background work. Well, are you seeing the same thing in your? Maybe we'll start at the beginning. Let's start at the beginning, Raz. Tell us who you are.
Okay. No. I like it when you push me into the water. This is what I'm good at. Yeah. Throw me into the cold water. I love it. Yeah. So just reflecting because sometimes you just want to answer. Also in sales, yeah. They ask you a question, you're not gonna say, "Hey, let me answer in the end." You need to give the answer. So answering that, still struggling, man. I think in sales, being like in two sides of the aisle. I've been a vendor and like a consumer. So I saw the both sides of the aisle, and the thing is, you always struggle to say the right thing. Yeah. So sometimes you need to do a background in order to understand the person that speaking with you, what's interesting him now, not what happened like a few months back. So yeah, still today you need to take it from any LinkedIn or any other.
Well, I mean, it's not as though we can't go and find what Raz did on the weekend. I'll just log onto your Facebook and I can go and say, hey, saw you out with the missus on the weekend. You can do you can do anything today. It's literally everyone's exposed. So there's no reason for salespeople not to be being able to, just be a little bit more tailor-made in your communication and the way you approach people. Anyway, look, I'm Carl. I'm the founder of this crazy idea called Meet Magic, which is connecting executives all over the world for conversations with salespeople. And this is just some of the highlights that I've seen during the past 3 or 4 years of doing this. Being prepared is the number one thing that gives you confidence. And I'm not prepared for this call at all, so I'm not really eating my own dog food, but because I like spontaneity, and I think the best conversations come when you don't prepare too much. And so, Raz, tell me a little bit about you, because we met in Singapore. I was blown away by the fact that you turned up to this drinks that we had, and I'm like, oh shit, the cyber. Tell me a bit about the cybersecurity side of PayPal that you were involved in, because I know you've left there now, but you were involved in that. What was that all about? Because it was a very interesting title that you had.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Sometimes this interesting title sometimes sounds very boring, but I will try to make it very exciting. Yeah. So so I had a very exciting actually job in PayPal. One of my main roles and responsibilities were I had to look at the emerging threats, how they're gonna evolve, and how they might hit PayPal. So we had to do threat intelligence in order to understand what can be happening maybe in 6, 7, 8 months from now. And then getting ready, look at our tech stack and say, hey, are we really ready? Or do we have actually a fancy toys that we are using? And this is a question, because sometimes, you want to buy fancy toys. We like fancy toys, no, Carl?
Yes, always.
Like your pocketry, no?
Fancy toys. I mean, I know if there's people watching this, people like Jameson O'Reilly from Devon, probably one of the best hackers on the planet. I think he's made more money than God finding holes in people's networks. But he loves fancy toys. But I think people have got too many fancy toys that they become blind almost, right?
Exactly, because sometimes, and sorry for saying that, you know how to dig the hole, you know how to get there, but it's a rabbit hole. It's not going to take you anywhere. You want to protect and defend, let's say, the crown jewels, the holes that are going to lead you to the crown jewels, the ones that's going to hold your holy grail. Yeah. So one of my jobs was, hey, let's find what are holy grails, what are the places we want to actually defend, because there are so many places on the fence that we couldn't care less if someone would dig a hole, by the way. It can be super sophisticated, but it will get there nowhere. Yeah. So one of the main jobs is first making sure that the most important assets, which are the critical assets, or the crown jewels, sounds very sexy, the crown jewel, where the crown jewels are located, they are protected with the relevant defense controls against the emerging threats. Not what's happening today, because today we are good, but what's going to happen tomorrow? Are we actually ready to respond? Because in cybersecurity, and I've been in the industry, you asked me what I did, I've been in the industry for the past 15 plus years. It's not a matter, and it's like a cliche, but it comes again and again and again. It's not a matter of, when, of how, it's a matter of when. And when they come, you just want to be ready to respond. I heard yesterday, and sorry for taking over, because you asked about a very exciting, and passionate field of my life. I heard a great interview by George Kurtz, which is the CEO of CrowdStrike. And one of the things that he was referring to, and the sophisticated attacks are just getting more and more interesting. So imagine like 10 years ago, ransomware start, or 7 years ago, then they asked, okay, pay me and I will bring you back your, or decrypt your data. Now they're not saying just that. They sometimes do double and triple ransomware. What does it mean? Yeah. Can you imagine what does it mean, like triple ransomware? Let's imagine together. It's meaning that first, I'm going to encrypt your data. Second, parallel, I'm going to steal some of your data, keep it in my own. And third, I'm saying, hey, if you're going from, taking your backups and coming from backup, the moment you're going to do that, I'm going to actually exfiltrate the data. So what are your chances? It's like catch-22. Should I pay? Should I not pay? Still going on. And some of the executives, they know if they're not going to pay, it's going to be a huge issue. But if they're going to pay, they're going to actually assisting the criminals to continue, getting there.
And that just makes it more profitable. So they just keep doing it all the more. Is this like nation state stuff, Raz? I mean, China, Russia, Iran, Korea, North Korea. Are they still the four main worries that most people have?
There is a direct and indirect attacks. Okay. So most of the ransomware attacks are not directly from, the nation you refer to and some others. Yeah. Sometimes they have their proxies. Okay. Because they want to influence the economics. They want to influence political situation. Sometimes they just want to generate money, like North Korea. I hope that Mr. Kim doesn't hear me. But they just want to now. GDP. Yeah, there are so many sanctions, man. They need to make money. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I think in Australia last year there was something like 76,000 cyber attacks, one every 7 minutes, I think, something like that. And then I think that was 2022 to 2023. And then in 2023, last year, there was one report every 6 minutes, and they were up around 20%. So that was, I think, 3 of them each day was classified as of a serious nature. I mean, do you see that? Do you think that's going to increase this year?
I think it might gonna, I don't want to be foolish. Yeah, you never can predict the future. You just rely on data-driven information that you're getting. I do not think that it's gonna be reduced. It's not gonna be stay the same. But still, if you're taking the same numbers in 2023, 2022, 2021, and you say what is the average, impact by cybersecurity attacks, it's still very significant. You cannot avoid it. And now take like 20, 15%, 10%, choose a number of increasing. So I think we need to be aware and we need to do the right choices, in terms of, hey, which type of assets do we have? If they're gonna be impact, how we can quantify. And this is what I was nurturing in PayPal, by the way. He was asking how we can quantify the cybersecurity risk. What's gonna be the pain in dollars? Yeah, how it's gonna look like, and then let's do investments. Then find the relevant vendors. Let's share with them our projects. And I think one of the good things, and not just good thing, it's very innovative thinking, even though it's very simple. When we met and you said, hey, Raz, I think that if I will go to executive, they're going to share, their plans for 2024, for 2025. And I can assist them to find the relevant solution that match to them. I think it will resonate.
Let me ask something. So you've been on both sides of the fence, right? So you were at PayPal. You would have had salespeople knocking on your door 24 hours a day to try and come and sell you stuff.
Wow.
This is obviously in the cybersecurity world. I mean, we've got Mint Magic's probably got about 20 or 30 cybersecurity vendors. A lot of them have got the same stories to tell. How do you differentiate, or which ones do you let in to have a conversation with you? Because what I'm seeing at the moment, and this is just an example, one of our clients has a bit of software, a cybersecurity bit of software that allows you to see get visibility into all your SaaS applications, because that's often where there's some risk. But they're not acting on that, even though they know it's a problem that they need to fix. They're not acting on it. So, at what point do the boards and the people in control of the budgets need to start allocating capital against the actuality of that risk, because they're not doing it? So, my question is, when you've had all these salespeople knocking on the door, which ones do you talk to?
It's a good question. I think like any good cocktail, yeah, you need to have a great ingredients. Yeah. You need to have like good ingredients with a good portion of ingredients.
Yeah.
So the ones that just keeping on my door, not even question, hey, what's your pains? Hey, let's have a conversation about, X, Y, and Z. It's like from the first minute for me, it's a big no-no. Yeah, because they don't want to assist me. They want to sell me, which is a big difference. Yeah, I want vendors that gonna assist with my pains, because when I will be successful, following their support and assistance, it's a win-win situation. I'm gonna get my bonuses. Yeah, my team is gonna be happy. We're gonna be better in the better defenses against these emerging threats, and the vendor is gonna be happy as well. Yeah, he's gonna increase his ARR. So it's my best suggestion is try to tailor kind of a win-win situation. It's cliche, yeah. But it's this is the reason I said cocktail. Yeah, it's not just send me a message on LinkedIn and say, hey, we have like the best identity and access tool that maybe gonna fit for you. No, I think what's gonna be better is, hey, we have like very interesting and new technology that might gonna assist you in identity. If you're looking for it, and if it's a pain, let's have like 15 minutes conversation. I don't want to waste your time.
How do they get to know what your interests are if they've not looked at your Facebook or if they've not been into your Instagram account and stalked you? How do they know what Raz's interests are?
Okay, so there are a few different ways, and you said it. Yeah, back in the days, you have to sneak into offices. First of all, be creative. Yeah, be creative. Meaning, if you are a startup, for sure you baked. I hope you baked by VCs. VCs have connections. For instance, if a VC, and this happened to me, one of the VCs or private equities or whatever, funded, team, knock on my door for a personal relationship and say, hey, Raz, we have like 3 different startups. What's your pains? Where do you want to focus on? And then they take this, like my information, which is like high level, and they share it with the company they invest in. Okay. So when this CEO, let's call him Mike, okay, when Mike will approach me on LinkedIn and say, hey, I spoke with John from Venture X. Yeah. He mentioned that, then we already have a different, conversation.
Yeah, totally. Right there.
Just an example.
And that's just a little bit of leadership in sales, right? I mean, you can align yourself to the leadership in technology like you're talking about there. What do you think about the future with cyber? I mean, that's going to be something to look at, right? I mean, it's changing so quickly. You talk about the threat landscape and how quickly that's changing. What sort of emerging technologies do you think are going to have the most significant impact on the cybersecurity world in the next 24 months?
Okay, let me surprise you. Okay, ready? Yeah. So last week, I was reading lots of reports, from and what happening in articles in the World Economic Forum. One of their signs over there was AI is the future. No, man, the AI is not the future. It's the present. It's here. There's so many tools. Come on, guys. It was just, I think, this week or last week, Microsoft, Google, Samsung just released their ad hoc, AI tools. And why I'm saying that, it's not just tomorrow. It's like starting last winter when ChatGPT. So when you ask me, and sorry for taking you for a long conversation, is you need to keep track on the technology. It's kind of a race condition. Yeah. Technology emerge, cybersecurity threats emerge with that. The attackers, the criminals, they do not sit and wait in their offices and say, let's wait a year, see what's are the trends. Okay, now let's act. No, they look at the technology very fast, very agile. They're trying to understand what are the gaps, where we can attack, where we can leverage, where we can do our A/B testing. Some of them are acting like startups and like companies. So they have the QA, they do survey of understanding what are the best tools. And if there is a tool, basically, that can defend against, the new technology. And then they say, there is a gap. There is a need. There is a value. Same as, any startup. What is the best product market fit for attacker?
Yeah, right. That's really interesting. I bet Jameson and Devon, he'd be all over that, understanding that, because
I'm sure.
I think, I come from a very poor background, and, the stolen cars would come up on our street. People that bring the stolen cars up, and, we'd take the radio out and sell it for £10 and put food on the table. Today, it's all online hackers taking your credit card and the money from your bank. It's a completely different world. There's no more stolen cars and stolen radios anymore. It's a completely different world, and I think that's going to evolve even more. I mean, whether or not they're stealing people's data from a big hack and then releasing that on the black market and making money from it that way, or they're taking individuals' money. It's just it seems to be happening more and more and more. And the banks, from what I can see, the bank seems to be saying, "Oh, it's not our fault; it's yours." So are we going to start to see people that are the custodians of money, like banks, starting to say to people, "Well, actually, that was your fault that you gave those details away"?
I think I'm going to give my perspective from working in banks. Yeah, so I was working in one of the biggest banks in Israel, defending the security infrastructure over there. And I got to, the culture and the internal thoughts of how to protect the customers. So it's, and I was recently, working in PayPal, have the same thought leadership. We need to protect our customers. So I know the majority, there are some that do not think that way, but I don't think it's the majority. Yeah. I think most of the banks, when they're speaking about risk management, when they're speaking about revenues, when they look about, how to quantify, the cyber risk, they're thinking about the customers and the consumers. So sorry to hear, that feeling that you have, but I think they're doing their best. If we look in the biggest bank in the world, I think it's JP Morgan. Actually, it's a news that came in, from the World Economic Forum. They're investing $15+ billion to defend, and exactly they pinpoint the fraud, problem. So I really believe that they are doing their best. I'm talking about, the majority of the banks, and the rest have to follow. You know why? Regulations are getting tougher. Always need a good regulation. Yeah, nobody like them, but always need a good regulation to be the growth engine.
Did you ever prepare? Did you ever prepare for the first 24 hours after an attack? Did you like have some simulations or something going on? So all of a sudden PayPal got done, and then what do you do? First things first. Let's make sure we're all on the same page, get the story straight, and before we go to the press, before you open the door and you get all the flashing cameras. Did you ever have any scenario planning like that?
Yeah, it's like to call it tabletop exercise. Not just doing that, I was architecting that. So
Right.
it's some things that came into, my, I think part of my nature is maybe my military background. Yeah. That you need to always be ready, and you need to train and train and train, because the moment it happened to you, you already have your playbook. Imagine, God forbid, you have a fire in your basement. You know exactly what are the 3 steps you need to do, I guess. Yeah. If any cybersecurity team, and not just a cybersecurity team, the executive have their full playbook of what need to be done, the impact of the attack will be reduced in very high percentage. I cannot tell how much, but for sure, the time to respond will be quicker and the pain will be lower. So absolutely, absolutely, yeah. You need to be very, experienced. You need to be very creative. Man, this is a super stressful situation.
Yeah.
You can't even imagine. Even for a people, for a person, there is an attack. He have the playbook, but now he needs to stay in the office for the next 24, 48, and sometimes weeks, until make it this done. You need to get ready for that. There is no even a question. It's have to be part of the strategy, and this is what I was pushing so hard, by the way, in PayPal when I joined. Yeah. So yeah.
There's a whole I think there's a whole load of industries spinning up off the side of this, right? I mean, you've got the likes of, I don't know before, for example, that are training people on the human behavior side of cybersecurity. Don't click on shit, because that's why you're getting hacked. And then you've got all the insurance industry that's spinning up. Preparing companies, for when they do get hacked, how they can save themselves from that. And those insurance premiums we're starting to see them obviously going through the roof. But are you seeing anything? I mean, you've spent some time now as an advisor in the cybersecurity world. What are you seeing? What are you seeing as the peripheral industries that are all starting to pop up?
Yeah, let me just click back a second, okay? I just want to give another example. I don't know, just to resonate again. It's not just we have the awareness. Let's imagine together, okay, me and you deciding to go to run a marathon, 42.1 kilometers, man. And I'm telling you, Carl, you don't have any time to train or do a practice for that. Getting ready. We're doing it tomorrow. This is exactly how it's feel like if you're not getting ready for an attack. It's like running a marathon with zero practice, with zero training, with zero running.
I know what that. Are you a marathon runner?
I'm a half marathon. I like a half marathon, which is 21. Yeah.
My girlfriend's preparing for a marathon right now, and she's aiming to do 3 hours 30, and not just to finish the marathon, but to finish it in a good time. And to prepare for that alone it's 20 weeks of hard training. It's 20 weeks of pushing your heart rate to certain limits, and then the rest, and then learning how to manage your body and the fuel and everything else that you're having with that. So what you're saying is it's the same thing with cyber attacks. It's like if you're not prepared, once something happens, you're going to hit the wall.
You're going to hit the wall. There is no other, question.
How do you convince a board member who's responsible for cyber risk that is the case? And because they all go, yes, I know. Oh, yes, yes, yes. And then do nothing.
Okay. So I did it. I'm just going to bring from my experience. Yeah. Because most of the board members, some of them know, they came from, they have experience. This is the reason they are board members. They're supposed to come with experience. But some of them are not. So you need to, instead of saying, hey, it's important, hey, you need to give them scenarios. So one of the scenarios that I like to use is I went to one of the board members, one of the companies that I want to, disclose. And I said, imagine that one of our biggest customer, let's say Walmart, yeah, because you are a very well-known board member of our company, he have your phone number and he heard a rumor there is something is going on. You're gonna get a phone call and he will ask, hey Carl, I heard that ransomware attack is going on. Does it gonna impact me? Silence. You know what this board member said? He said,
Shitting,
and sorry,
shitting
I don't know
joke.
if there is kids over here, but he said the
Go
F,
on.
and then she, and then, okay, Raz, what do we need to do? I said, first of all, let's start with the aid kit. First aid kit. Yeah, don't go to boil the ocean with board members. Because when you try to boil the ocean with them, it's like they start to strategize. Hey, what's the budget? What we have the plan? Why are you coming with a new narrative that we need to have effort? Baby steps. Give them the scenario, how it's going, and then I'm entering also to quantify, the impact in the business, the stock price, the customers, the merchants, the internal employees. You need to have the relevant communication. It's a mess. It's a chaos. Let's be ready.
What's in the first aid kit?
Don't call Raz.
Some cream.
I'm just joking. First aid kit is the first thing that happening. You need to have the number, the WhatsApp, the email, just to update, to share the information. Even if you are not sure, it's better late than sorry. Yeah. So just update the relevant team. In order to do that, you need to know who's the relevant team. You need to have their number. So yeah. Anyway,
I think there's so much involved in this whole thing. One of the things that I see, I don't know if it's the same in Asia, but it certainly is in Australia. You hear it a lot. That the narrative is always agreed. Yes, we know there's cybersecurity is very important. We know it's the number one topic this year on the business agenda. We've got to do something. But then what happens is it comes down to the mid-management layers, maybe the C-suite layer, and it gets stopped because it may be somebody else in a different division, different team that's blocking the budget being approved. And we're seeing this a lot. We see there's the allocation of capital not going to where it needs to go to support cybersecurity agenda. Is that the same in Asia? Is it the same sort of? I call it the permafrost layer. These are the people, they've probably got 3 kids in private school paying 150 grand a year, and don't change anything here because I might lose my job, kind of thing. And so let's just let's just hold off and we'll take a bit of a risk. Do you see that happening much over there?
I think so, here and there. By the way, nobody got fired by buying, either IBM or Microsoft. Yeah. So this is one thing. On the other hand, you want to bring like the emerging, tech, to actually protect your crown jewels. But I think that a lot of that I'm observing coming here is that compliance regulations are a big aspect of the the narrative of the why. Why do we need to invest?
Yeah,
it's something I would leverage and use if I was a vendor. I would go first. Hey, what is your biggest pains in terms of auditing, regulation, compliance, all this packet, the GRC, the holy grail of GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. And then I might gonna find like a budget. Second, maybe if I have emerging technology, including a buzzword, AI. Uh, buzzword alert, yeah, buzzword alert. AI. I might gonna be able to do good, because what I'm observing is that this is like a key element, a key necessity in this area.
Yeah, I think outsourcing is definitely on the table for 2024 as well. I'm reading lots of reports that show that most C-suites are going to well, there's an increased reliance on IT services and consulting just to be able to deliver those cyber outcomes for business. So in Australia, we're talking about cyber risk. The key areas for business this year: cyber risk. I think talent acquisition and retention in the cyberspace is also a big problem. The regulatory change that's coming is also, how do we keep on top of that? Of course, then we've got the digital transformation and how to keep the costs under control. And those things are really, on top of everyone's agenda right now. But I think cyber risk it's got everyone's attention. But it seems like there's 1,000,001 conversations that need to happen, and the salespeople are struggling to get in the door because every cybersecurity on the planet is trying to open the door at the same time. So it's kind of, I feel for the execs, because they're getting harassed and targeted a lot. But how do you pick which ones to talk to and which ones to not talk to? Because you might miss one, and then all of a sudden you have a breach, and then you realize you should have actually had that conversation and you didn't. And so I think outsourcing is going to play a big part in 2024. What do you think about that?
I think so too. I just want to be, going back to the executive decision, who should I pick? And I'm just going to put myself. Yeah. So we tried, I think we succeeded, to build a plan. What are the priorities that align with the business? And when I have my 4 or 3, big milestones based on the strategy, it was easier for me to choose the relevant vendor. Yeah. So the selective of what is actually needed, that's first of all tick the boxes based on the strategy. So I used to get 100, messages in LinkedIn. Man, it's crazy. You cannot even imagine being in PayPal. I stopped even look at my messages in LinkedIn, specifically in LinkedIn. But when I saw something that might gonna match my milestones with strategy, then I could pick them. The emerging or the sideways, could come from relationships. So either like VCs that I'm working with, I've been in the community, in the ecosystem. I heard I might gonna have an option to do, a POC or a test for this year. Maybe I'm gonna take it next year. So as an executive, this was my playbook. Okay. As a vendor, as a startup, for instance, in XM or Deep Instinct, that I was part of the founding team, and then take it, with XM contributing to, I think, a great success story with a huge exit over there. Yeah, of course, leading by our CEO, and everybody did something, in the team to make it happen, this $700 million exit. But as a vendor, what we try to do is always speak about the pains. Yeah, getting the intelligence of understanding who's the person, that we are working with, getting background check, just like in the old days. Yeah. Human.
I think
Trust and human. Yeah. Let's work to understand the pains. If we have a mutual understanding of the pains and we understand the concept, maybe our product will assist you. So this was another.
It's really interesting. One of the things I'm going to be doing with the Meet Magic platform is giving the execs a chance to actually see which companies or which other execs are actually using a particular product. So you can reach out to them and say, hey, I'm thinking about looking at this company. What's your experience? And I think that's the reason why a lot of execs go to the events and the conferences, to try and find someone to have a conversation with about that. And of course, when they go to the conference on the free ticket, they get harassed afterwards for 3 weeks. So it's kind of, I'm trying to stop all that.
Can I scan you? Can I scan you?
Yeah. And don't get me started on the sales cycle of that. But I think that this has been a great conversation, Razmin. And I know that a lot of salespeople would have listened to what you just said, or they should have listened to what you've just said and taken that down and taken some notes, because there's a whole lot of value in that, just in understanding what to do and how to align yourself, whether or not you're being different, or whether or not it's, how to get that conversation started. You've been, one of the things that really blew me away when we first met was that you just arrived in Singapore a couple of months after the war started. And how's it been in Singapore? You settled in?
Yeah, thank you. We settled in, sorry. Yeah, family good, girls are fine. My heart is with, my friends in Israel. It's a tough situation. I'm not saying like who is right, who is wrong, but it's complex. It's complex. Hopefully we get the hostages back. This is like the most important, it's like one of the things that we all concerned about. So
your timing was impeccable.
That's
all I can think of. So whatever you choose to do with your life, I'm sure your timing is going to be perfect, because this is one of the number one things, that the reasons why salespeople or why startups are successful is not because of the product, it's because of the timing. And I think the timing to market and whether or not it's right time for that particular product to emerge is the reason. But mate, I just want to thank you. I'm coming up to Singapore soon. I'd love to catch up with you again and continue this conversation. We could sit here talking for 3 hours, because it's just got that vibe about it. And I think there's so much knowledge in your brain that needs to come out. It's incredible. So tell me about what you're doing now,
okay,
and where you're going with it.
Sure. So what I'm doing right now is actually building my own venture. I want to use my expertise and experience to share and assist, startups to be faster to market. To reduce the time, share with them my failures, share with them my success, giving them my unique view of, two sides of the aisle, and maybe they will adopt it, and we're gonna succeed together. So I'm working with cybersecurity startups here in this area. I'm also have a relationship with local VCs over here to see how we can bring like a value creation sometimes to their portfolio, and sometimes do the right pick for investment, and not just for the time of the investment. Because if you're going to speak with any partner in a VC, will tell you that the most concerning time is the day after, not the day before.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wish you all the best with that. And I think your knowledge is valuable for any startup. I mean, the fact that you know all the VCs, not just in Singapore, but around the world as well, because you've been dealing with them. Maybe you could introduce me to the PayPal mafia. I can get some money out of them to go meet Magic. Let's
do that.
You're not joking, are you? He says that with such a straight face.
I'm always with a can-do approach. Let's do that. What can happen? It can be a huge failure or nothing.
Exactly. I'm all for that. Raz, thank you so much for your time. We'll call it that. It's been 45 minutes. There's quite a lot of time for. I'll take some of the clips of this, and there's some little bits of value in there that you spoke about, which is I'm going to clip it. I'm going to put it on our internally on the Magic Circle, so the salespeople and the execs can watch it, because I think there's so much value in there that it's just a matter of getting it all out. So,
Carl, it was lovely.
You're lovely.
Love talking with you. We always have like a good, ideas after we have a chat. So
yeah, I'm still thinking about writing to the Mr. Beast, because there's the guy talk about technology's role in social impact. Look at this guy. what he's doing with his money and giving it away, making people's lives better.
Let's speak with him. Maybe he can hear us. Hey, Mr. Beast, we want you to join us. We want to be with you. Come speak with Carl. Here's the challenge.
That clip there is the one I'm going to cut that right out now. I'm going to tweet it on Twitter. I'm going to tweet Mr. Beast.
Should do that.
Raz, bless you, mate. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.